We have arrived, and we are now approaching the dreaded Devil's Maw. Let's research this project. Norwegians represent.
Discovered.
UNS Leif Erikson.
Establishing colony.
And it is now surveyed. The horizon signal. Gravity is desire. Science officer Minato Ikeda reports that the signal is unexpectedly easy to decipher, but their team has spent considerable time confirming that it's not actually a hoax. It's a repeating half-coherent message in the human language, something like a poem. It repeats the phrase, gravity is desire and time is sight. It encodes coordinates near the black hole, and it ends with a dedication by name to the science officer, who adds dispassionately that they have confirmed that the signal has not been radiating into interstellar space since before their birth. In fact, the signal may predate our civilization. Fascinating. Send the vessel to those coordinates, which begins the worm-in-waiting chain. Or, that's a trick or a trap. Log it and move on. Techniques we've developed to analyze the signal will have some applications in physics research. Now, obviously, this is the UNS Leif Erikson. We're going in.
Log updated.
So we move in. The worm. It approaches the coordinates specified by the signal and begins to report spatial distortions and curious lensing effects, a rich stream of valuable data. Then the transmission becomes distorted. What happens next is analyzed exhaustively. The excitement in Science Officer Minato Ikeda's voice tautens to fear as the ship hull struggles under incredibly exotic conditions. The ship triggers a distress call. Minato Ikeda cries out, "The worm!" or perhaps, "The worm!" Then all transmissions end. No trace of the UNS Leif Erikson is ever found. No further transmissions, no debris, and the space at those coordinates is innocuous and utterly free of distortions. The data they sent back has advanced our physics research dramatically. Perhaps it was worth their lives. They will not be forgotten. Physics research gained 1900. Okay then, we just lost the UNS Leif Erikson. I am saddened for my Norse counterparts.
Survey complete.
We're just gonna wait. Devil's Maw. You know what? I'm gonna grab the... Okay, UNS Einstein. This is a different ship altogether. Ooh, my colony got established. I'm gonna grab my UNS Einstein with, not with Charles Scott. So let me grab somebody that's less valuable. Nah, he's an elder statesman. It will be a worthy calling should he meet his doom. We have arrived. So I just sent him in there to survey. We have Devil's Maw, and Devil's Maw 1. So apparently I can at least work them.
Discovered.
Okay. Oh. Wow, there's an anomaly in Devil's Maw system. Isn't that curious? So we're gonna do some research. Okay. The horizon signal reprise. The black hole in Devil's Maw is active again. Once again, a looping signal flickers in the darkness at the edge of normal space. But this time there's an acoustic message encoded in the signal. It sounds like Minato Ikeda's voice. What was shall be. Minato Ikeda intones. What was shall be. Then the same coordinates as the first signal, the coordinates where Minato Ikeda was lost. what the media has christened the exit point. Then they say a name, Charles Scott. Who is this scientist? Charles Scott volunteers to go. Permit it. Permit them to go, but rig their ship's drive to detonate? Not this time. Ignore it. No! The readings originate from a small metal pod. Science officer Charles Scott has determined that it to be a lifeboat of ancient and alien make. Evidently caught on the outskirts of the black hole's gravity well aeons ago at an angle just short of a slingshot maneuver. Whether this was the intent of or happenstance is difficult to judge, and the pod's automated thrusters have been fighting its descent into the event horizon ever since. It is now too close to the horizon to salvage. Charles Scott's report ends abruptly, and the crew of the UNS Einstein communicate that the science officer appears shaken and deeply troubled by the tragic fate of the lifeboat. So we gain 250, and Charles Scott now has the paranoid trait. So let's look at Charles Scott real quick before we go into anything else. Paranoid, research speed minus 5%, anomaly research speed minus 10%. So he's troubled. Now, this whole Minata Enkedos voice, what was shall be, Charles Scott volunteers to go. And as a scientist myself, at least to a degree, I have to say, if he's willing to do it and it's not, against ethics somehow, he will arrive at the exit point in 30 days. Go gadget Charles Scott. Dun dun dun. So he made it through. This time the ship is running fully automated. Charles Scott is the only crew member aboard as it approaches the exit point. The telemetry steam fills up with fascinating data. Telemetry stream fills up with fascinating data. Once again, space flexes, gravity uncoils. Charles Scott reads off the headline data echoing the telemetry. They are commendably calm. We've sent a professional. It takes a while for anyone to realize that something is peculiar about the timing. Charles Scott is no longer echoing the data, they're actually predicting it. The telemetry disagrees, but only for a few seconds until it catches up. The monitoring team is just reporting that the prediction interval is increasing when Charles Scott says, wonderingly, "I'm through." "It's dark," they add. "That's not a problem. We can live in the dark." I never thought of that, but of course we can live here forever if the worm will only wait. At that moment, the signal cuts out and the ship disappears from our team's sensors. That is horrible. That is regrettable. That is fascinating. That is fascinating. Okay. So,
Survey complete.
we let things go there. Charles Scott is
Technology
gone.
discovered.
We don't have a meter for the UNS Einstein anymore. No scientist aboard this ship. So he's off on his own apparently, and there's nothing special about the system now. Okay, a little time has passed. Just a few days, probably 20 or 30. Just enough time for a war to break out here in this galaxy. Not involving me, involving one of my neighbors. Nonetheless, that will not interfere with the Devil's Maw work. So, we have a new event. The Trine, the Quine, the Trine. Once again, the horizon signal in Devil's Maw is active. It has upped its game. Once again, the transmission includes the exit point's coordinates. It's signed with the private comm keys of Minato Ikeda and Charles Scott. But this time, it's a generative text program written in an elderly programming language that creates what appear to be love poems. The love poems directed to Lillian Bolton. They're honestly not very good love poems, but it is, our scientists agree, quite difficult to generate love poems procedurally. And quite unusual for a black hole to send love poems at all. Wow. Well, let's ask nicely. Send Lillian Bolton. Send Lillian Bolton with her drive rigged to blow. This is sinister and ridiculous and sinister. Let it go. It's the second, and this is sinister and sinister. Okay, so where's my girl Lillian? Red Rover, send Lillian on over. All right, well, we've got the Einstein here in the area. Lillian is not doing research. Oh, she is. She's working on my lasers. She's almost done with my lasers. I don't want to send her off. Okay, Red Rover. Send Lillian Bolton on over. There. Well, it asked nicely. Hello, Devil's Maw says hi. Where the end comes from. This will be the end of me, Lillian Bolton says at a briefing before launch. I know I won't come back, but I think I always knew this would happen. Whatever is in the hole has been waiting for us for a long time. I think it's been waiting for me since before I was born. Once again, this single pilot ship approaches the exit point. Once again, space boils like a fever. Again, our sensory arrays soak up fascinating data. This time, Lillian Bolton is silent. The telemetry becomes intermittent, and then it too is silent. The ship has reached the exit point. The conditions around it are returning to normal. Nothing has happened. Nothing? The monitoring team mutter furiously. The ship is different. In fact, it's a different ship. It's Minato Ikeda's vessel, lost these years past, drifting now away from the exit point. A salvage team finds it pristine and empty, no trace of crew, and no sign of violence. But there's a journal entry in Minato Ikeda's name, titled, "What Was Will Be." Our scientists review it nervously. Impossible, one says. I hope so, says another. The ship is named the Foundling and returned to service. The signal, dead or sleeping, says nothing at all, ever again. And yet, this may not be the end. Tech research option gained. Entropic recursion. Tech process gained. Progress gained. Entropic recursion plus 10%. The Foundling, which has a whole bunch of ship modifiers on it. Plus weapon damage, plus damage to void clouds, frontier outpost upkeep minus 50, anomaly fail risk minus 10%, and anomaly discovery chance plus 15%. Wow, that's an amazing little shippy ship there. A little more time has passed, and we have a new notification. The Loop Temple, signs in the stone. Archaeologists have found a forgotten temple in the remote highlands of Earth, buried for centuries, but recently exposed by an earthquake. Dating techniques suggest it is a pre-industrial relic hand-hewn from volcanic rock. However, the recurring symbol on the walls and radial altar, a Mobius looped serpent consuming its own tail, has no obvious precedent in our early history. The inscriptions use an unknown alphabet. One excitable archaeologist suggests it's a relic left by an unknown precursor race. In a presumably meaningless coincidence, the quake seems to have occurred at the same time as the final message from the black hole in Devil's Maw. This merits study. Issues the special project Investigate the Loop Temple. Or Ominous. And issues special project Investigate the Loop Temple. I'm gonna say this is ominous. Well, for the first attempt, it is Investigate the Loop. This merits study.
Log updated.
Alright, log updated. So, what do we got? Oh, we have a couple of things going on. The worm in waiting signals. Something has reached out to us from a place where time and space are shrunk to a knot. It desires us. Okay. Investigate the Loop Temple. Available. Finishes in 200 days. Doesn't actually cost anything, just takes the time. Establish a research project to learn more about the Loop Temple, its origins, and its purpose. Go. 200 days. It'll be a little while. I'm gonna check in on that war.
Station under attack.
Okay. So we've completed the 200-day thing, and we've got some interesting stuff going on. So first off, the Loop Temple, Time and Stone. Our scientists have learned a great deal about the subterranean temple, but some questions remain. A roof aperture, along with the radial altar, suggests it was once a solar calendar, but it's so badly damaged by the earthquake that we can't be certain. If the builders found particular dates important, we'll never know which ones. We've had better luck with the unknown alphabet. It's a debased variant of the better-known hieratic script, not an alien language at all, and we've successfully deciphered it. The temple is dedicated to the waiting worm, or the worm in waiting. Most of the inscriptions are sonorous, poetic invocations requesting its appearance, or, if read in the other direction, its departure. There is also a body of inscriptions describing the operations of the universe, which our more excitable archaeologist swears contains references to advanced field equations. Nothing new to us, but very impressive for a temple of this vintage. We have yet to find a physicist who's prepared to go on record as agreeing that the references are meaningful, though. The temple holds no cosmic secrets or alien weapons, as far as we can tell, but its dark spaces have a distinctive menacing beauty, and the poetry of the invocations to the worm in waiting becomes fashionable. They are set to popular music. They are published in collections. And so we have a choice. Open the Loop Temple to the public. This. Something from our past, what was, will be. Loop Temple Visitor Center modifier added, giving the following effects. Happiness plus 5%. Research option gained. Doctrine, Strange Loop. Tech progress gained. Doctrine, Strange Loop 20%. Reserve the temple for academic study only. So instead of happiness plus 5%, we get society research plus 300. Or there's something wrong here. Show leadership by sealing the temple. Better safe than sorry. It ends the worm in waiting signals event chain, and you gain 100 influence. I'm currently at 800 plus influence. I don't want to influence. So this round, it's all yes. So open the Loop Temple to the public. Now, this may or may not be related, but asteroids sighted. I have recently established a new colony, right? And this new colony, which actually was just north of the Devil's Maw, it's a super small colony. They currently just finished building their spaceport. And we have an asteroid about to hit. So, I am going to take my entire fleet. And we're going to come in to try and defend. Not that it really matters a great deal. I know these asteroids, when they hit, they don't really do a ton, but we'll see. Asteroids sighted are deep space tracking arrays in Kerbal Prime. Kerbal. Have made an alarming discovery. A large asteroid is heading towards the planet and on a direct collision course. Should it impact the surface, consequences would be disastrous. The asteroid must be destroyed before it is too late. Go, go, go. Konstantin Kolosov. Do your thing, my man.
Log updated.
Okay. Alright, let's see here. What do we got? Oh boy, okay. We have a lot that's been happening. First off, the messenger. What was, will be. The UNS Einstein, hey. Is the UNS, yeah, the UNS Einstein is actually still in action. It was the one that was abandoned by Charles something or other. So the UNS Einstein has located a small, minimally powered artificial object broadcasting a looping signal at local range only. Where is this? I don't even know what the UNS Einstein is doing. Really don't. I didn't have him doing much of anything. He's over here working on an anomaly? He was over here working on an anomaly, apparently. I don't remember sending him to do so. The UNS Einstein has located a small, minimally powered artificial object broadcasting a looping signal at local range only. These sorts of things usually turn out to be escape pods, and this looks like one of those. It's been out here a long time. When the crew cracks it open, carefully observing quarantine procedures, they find ancient remains preserved by the sterile pod environment. So far, not unusual. The captain of the UNS Einstein indicates, however, that they did not expect to find the human words, "What was, will be. What will be, was," daubed on the wall in the bodily fluids of the pod's occupant, who the crew are now wryly referring to as the messenger. They add that there are some equally unexpected anatomical similarities between the messenger's species and our own. Interesting. Issue a special project.
Log updated.
A rendezvous. Event. A rendezvous. The UNS Einstein's name is being hailed by the syzygy of United Nations of Earth. This despite the fact that it isn't sending any ID codes that we recognize, and no ship of that name has ever been commissioned. The syzygy's commanding officer claims to be Captain Konstantin Kolosov. That's curious. Konstantin Kolosov was the fleet captain, right? He's the captain of my first fleet here. Oh man. Hold on. Just on the off chance I don't want to lose my entire fleet, I'm gonna go ahead before we do all of that, and I'm just gonna, kind of sort of plunk off a lone yes, I'm just gonna plunk off one lone little Corvette just in case, so that I don't lose my entire fleet along the way here. And let's send the first fleet packing. The second fleet with my general, who is apparently now captain of the syzygy. That's quite curious. Now you're coming for this asteroid though, so go get that asteroid, mister. Okay. Now then, we have options. Our admiral of that name is alive and elsewhere. Open a channel. This must be an ambush. We are taking no chances. Battle stations. Come on, son. Our admiral of that name is alive, well, and elsewhere. Open channels. A rendezvous. Captain of what was, or the captain that was. Whoa. Okay. This is interesting. The captain appears on our screen is clearly Konstantin Kolosov, but a scarred, haunted, decrepit, wrecked edition of Konstantin Kolosov. Face glossy with plasma burns and older, much older. The bridge in the background looks just as scarred and just as decrepit, but the captain's voice is firm and clear. Finally! You're here. I've waited so long. My punishment is to die in battle against you. Please end me. I'm sorry. Oh wow, okay. What is happening here? Are you really Konstantin Kolosov? We gain 350 physics. If you want to end it, why wait? A warship is full of ways to die. Society research gained 400. What is the loop? Physics research gained 350. Surrender. Whatever you've done, we can help you. Let's finish this then. Alright. This is obvious. My man. What is the loop? The loop is what came first and what comes next. The worm in waiting, and, I suppose, the worm is the loop. Let's say time is a labyrinth. The captain begins to gesture futilely. Then the loop is its monster. Or its maker. No, I can't explain it. And you'll know more soon. You did in my past. Weapons locked? Okay, we can't do what is the loop anymore, but we're stuck in the loop. Alright, what is happening here? Are you really Konstantin Kolosov? Am I? Are you the same human you were last year? Every day is a death. Every future is a choice. Time is a labyrinth, not a road. A chuckle. It sounds like the chuckle hurts. Ask the loop. Well, if you really want to end it, why wait? A warship is full of ways to die. Don't you remember? Of course, you won't yet. And you might not now, not if you do it right. The loop needs its sacrifices, and it needs them just so. An agonized coughing chuckle. You don't want to trifle within the loop. Okay, so we're just sacrificing our leaders to this black hole by now. We've lost 2 scientists. Somehow one got duplicated. We've lost a ship, regained that ship. I haven't yet lost an admiral. I've just sent the admiral to check in on an asteroid. And here he is, though. So we're about to lose the clone, I suppose he is, of the admiral. So now I can go through each of these things, and it's not going to do anything. We've already done them. We have to choose some of the other then. Surrender. Whatever you've done, we can help you. Or let's finish this. Surrender. Too late, the captain says, not without regret, and cuts the transmission. Okay. Oh. Looped syzygy with 64 power. Alright, well I'm glad that I no, where's my fleet? Where's my fleet? There it is. Grab the first fleet, I just need the first. we are gonna go with 3,200 power and say hello to the loop syzygy. Alright, event, a rendezvous. How it ends. The syzygy is powering weapons. Battle stations! What's going on, man? He's independent, that much is known. Splitting pod. Click to view on the situation log. Scientist is... What? Study the messenger and its message. Scientist is present. Scientist is founder species. Scientist is skill 2 or higher. We've got more stuff that's been going on. The asteroid took place in Kerbal, but there's no asteroid now. It says asteroid destroyed. The asteroid that was approaching Kerbal Prime on a collision course has been destroyed. With their doom averted, our jubilant citizens on the planet have taken to the streets in celebration. A scan of the remaining fragments has also revealed that the asteroid consisted largely of valuable minerals. We have collected what we could. Excellent. 1,000 minerals gained. Fleet combat in the Kerbal system. Spaceport 1, asteroid nothing. Okay, so the spaceport was enough to get the kill. Excellent. Then I shall call my dear man Konstantin Kolosov the first into action against the looped syzygy. It's a curious thing. He has encountered something interesting, a rare technology, doctrine. Strange loop. This technology will remain a valid option until it is researched. And it will take 51 months. Let's see if I have anybody that does statecraft. We are down here in Q, and here is my man Konstantin Kolosov. I have decided not to be terribly cruel and have him kill himself, but rather his fleet is acting of their own accord here. Good luck, Konstantin.
Survey complete. Engaging enemy fleet. Science ship under fire. Science ship lost.
Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Science ship under fire? Oh. Oh. Oh, what is this? Another... Oh boy. Oh boy. Another leader sacrificed to the Devil's Maw. My goodness. So, the foundling who... What the heck? The foundling who was halfway across the universe. What? What the heck? Just got killed. The Stellar Devourer. As the UNS Foundling enters Difta system, it encounters something monstrous, a giant being radiating light like a miniature star. Our instruments first thought this to be a binary star system. The beast exudes light waves, rapid pulses, at an intense frequency, like a fluorescent roar. Oh, it's disconcerting. A rendezvous. The captain that will be. Konstantin Kolosov is silent in the days that follow. It is no small thing to hear that you are already dead, but in time that silence becomes a determination and an almost reckless confidence. Worrying. Konstantin Kolosov now has the foredoomed to a rendezvous trait. Or, what was will be. What will be was. And he gains the same trait. In the meantime, fleet combat stats. Hey, here we go. My fleet didn't lose a thing. We did kill the looped Syzygy, and a pirate fleet had a pirate cruiser in there somewhere. And that was not lost. Strangely enough, it did not die. But when the UNS Foundling was destroyed, the scientist aboard it did. And ongoing research lacks a scientist. My engineering researcher died. I don't know how that's possible. Okay, I'm sending the fleet home, and we have our scientist working on the spiraling pod.
Survey complete.
Oh, and he's apparently off somewhere else. What have we determined? Possibilities. We've established that the escape pod was the kind of commercially available knockoff common in the previous phase of galactic civilization. No new technologies or other insights. The remains of the messenger, however, are another matter. It's unmistakably an ancestor or variant of the human species. Perhaps we have cousins out there, or perhaps we were subject to genetic manipulation by a precursor race. Gaspar Salazar is requesting permission to conduct more extensive research. Gaspar is no, he's not my man. Who's Gaspar? I'm assuming that he's one of my, yes, he's over on the UNS Noble, apparently, Nobel. So he is my only 5-star scientist right now. Oh boy. Alright, so release the funding to issue a special project, or there are some things it's better not to know. So release the funding, of course. Building destroyed. At least one of our planetary buildings is missing something that is required for it to function. Okay, this is a different colony. This was Kerbal. We just established it not too long ago. I also am using that same species. And we just established the new foothold here at Euskipus. And as you can see, I was putting in a hydroponics farm. I had a second hydroponic farm there. And at least one of your planetary buildings is missing something that is required for it to function. Right click to dismiss, or it opened up this window. So we also have an event, the waiting world. Wait a minute. These weren't here before. What is this? Spiral hewn mine, which is ruined. Whoa. Maintenance of 2 produces 12 minerals. You can repair a building for part of its original cost and time. We're gonna repair it. It's gonna finish in queued. So I'm gonna go ahead and cancel that stuff. I want to see what this does. Okay, and then we have a loop plowed farm, which is also ruined. I'm gonna repair that guy too. Okay, the waiting world. It appears this is not the first human settlement on this planet. A number of facilities and residences, well, of course it's not human, it's the Chim, I think this is the Chim is the name of the race that founded on this new planet. Alright, it appears that this is not the first human settlement on this planet. A number of facilities and residences have been carefully mothballed, and with a little restoration will serve our new colony well, but all records have been erased. Possibly this was a smuggler's port, or a haven for political exiles. This is too good to be true. Demolish the buildings. This will cause unhappiness within the colony. Or excellent, make the arrangements to restore the buildings. Minerals, minus 100. Okay. Oh, and they're restored. Straight up. And we've got 12 food and 12 minerals. Ba-bam. Wow. And that is totally legit. That was 12. And if I do that, that's the full 12. Well, 13 actually. Yeah, because it gets the adjacency bonus. Ho, dude. That was kind of tight. And there's another 12 up here. A loop plowed farm up top as well. Wow. Alright. For the time being, plowed Farmville is getting saved. I'm coming back to this tomorrow. It's getting too late. See you then. Okay, after some much needed sleep, we are back for part 2. For part 2, we have, still in our situation log, the wormhole in waiting signals it desires us. So that's just still sitting there waiting for us. There's nothing special about it yet. But we have this other one, study the messenger connection. And this is, initial findings suggest that it is much more rugged and perhaps more aggressive form. Finishes in 60 days. Doesn't cost anything, just takes 60 days. So, commence the project. And we wait. While we wait, one of the systems, there were 3 systems that were involved in this, right? We had something happen in Escant here. We had the asteroid in Kerbal, and then we currently have these oddities down here on the surface of this planet. This was a broken down mine and broken down farm, which were restored to do 12 food and 13 mineral. So they are pretty powerful. Nonetheless, of note here too is that the original Glenn, I think this is the original, is currently studying, he's a third of the way through, studying a doctrine strange loop. And that is a set of social protocols based on paradoxical intuition and on love. When we know the system of the loop, we learn that we can influence by receiving instructions as well as giving them. Loop Institute. Governing ethics attraction, +5. Happiness, +5. Produces 8 social, planet unique. So this is a building. Oh, and something has happened. The messenger leashed. Gaspar Salazar, which is my high scientist man, has reconstructed the messenger. It's quite impressive, worryingly so. It seems to be considerably more robust and aggressive than our current edition. There is some confusion about whether we were the source species and the messenger, the modified version, or whether the messenger was our ancestor. Gaspar Salazar is firmly of the former opinion that the messenger was our ancestor, and that we were once much more of a warrior species, and that some meddling precursor muzzled us genetically. Indeed, they consider the loss of our martial abilities a tragedy, such a tragedy that they have undergone a retroviral treatment to alter their own physiology to that of the messengers. They insist that this will equip them much better to continue the project. Okay. So, a creative form of treason, execute them please. And that means Gaspar Salazar dies, and then we gain 20% on the Doctor Strange loop. Which is what we're studying, right? Doctor Strange loop? Yeah. So we can gain 20% on that straight up. By that one, if we say, excellent idea, get on with it, we also gain 20%. A creative form of treason. Execute them, please, and to destroy their notes. And that, I assume, ends the process here. Alright, well, I don't want to kill off Gaspar Salazar. I think he's onto something here. So... excellent idea. Get on with it then. And yep, boop, there goes a massive jump in our research of Strange Loop. I'm not sure if you actually have to research it if we keep getting these bonuses here. We have more action. First off, there's an event. That event is probably useless. And here's the event that we were actually waiting for. The Wailing World. Waiting World. The Waiting World, shadows in the walls. Our settlers were initially happy to make the use of the buildings on Ulysses Prime. Their existence jump-started the colony, but now they've grown nervous. There are rumors that the buildings may still have occupants or active security systems. Although no evidence of either has been found, some colonists insist enigmatically that there are shadows in the walls. Should we discourage the superstition? Buildings represent years of effort. Or why take the risk? They're only buildings. Have them demolished. Demolishing them causes unhappiness, and discouraging this superstition doesn't do anything. And they're awesome buildings. So we're gonna see if our Chimaroo here, if our Chim can be happy and still maintain their goodies. We've got two of them working on it, actually trying to build population. We don't have a third pop yet, which is actually basically our first pop because we already started with two due to the traditions. So, discourage the superstition. Buildings represent years of effort. And let's see what... oh, something already happened. Nope, this is the other chain. So two things have happened now since
Anomaly detected.
the previous deciding that we're going to stick with it. And our first one was an earthquake. It says the unstable tectonic plates on Ulysses Prime have just violently shifted once again. Reports on the damage to the colony are just starting to arrive. Let's hear it. So they get a minus 5% happiness. We have another event that happened on Earth, which is the Messenger. Night falls. Gaspar Salazar has now recreated the genetic heritage of the messenger species. Without stopping to ask anyone's opinion, they have also created a highly contagious retroviral agent. It stalks our worlds. Under its influence, our primary species falls into a chrysalis coma and emerges a day later as the messenger species. This is causing, it is fair to say, some excitement. So, this has gone too far. Now we end it. Control the outbreak. All pops on the capital planet will be converted, but there it will end. Or, what was shall be. We will change. Bring me a sample of the agent. This will transform our entire species. Wow. Let's give it a shot. And the waiting world also happened. Too many. Interesting news from Ulysses Prime, where we found those abandoned buildings. A census shows too many settlers. Records on a colony are always unreliable, but as far as we can tell, they have authentic citizen IDs, and no one on the world has suggested there are any mysterious strangers. But the birth rate must have been extraordinarily high, or we have unlicensed migration, or something. Somehow the population is higher than we might reasonably expect. Is it now? Yeah, okay. So we gained, like, instantly 2 citizens. But these are Chim, not... Let's check Soul. Whoa, these are no longer humans, but they are. Okay then. This is slightly different. So this is what happened back on the homeworld. We are no longer our peaceful, democratic, xenophile peeps. Instead, we have become militarist. What have we got? Intelligent? Oh wow, that's gonna be awesome for this planet. Check out the research that I built up already. So they're gonna enjoy that. Intelligent, adaptive, nomadic, wasteful. So those are some pretty typical human stuffs there still. We still have our continental preference, but suddenly have become militarists. Is that true of everybody? It is true of everybody. Okay, let's look at the species. Basically, we've gained the intelligence trait, but only the humans. The Chim have not. The Chim have been left alone, just as they already were. And we have -2 trait points remaining. I should totally spend those no, we're not spending those -2. Okay, interesting. So the waiting world, too many. What do we do with this? Destroy the buildings, or investigate as best we can and keep an eye on the situation. I say investigate because I'm curious what's going down. Alright. We let it roll. And actually, I'm also curious. I should double check. On my other planets as well, are all of my citizens? No, this is the Chim planet. Trappist. So literally, all of my humanoids, all of my humans have changed. Oh, and their happiness is plowed under the ground. Happiness is 30%? Whoa. Why in the world is your happiness utter junk? It's got to be because you believe you've joined a specific faction, March of the Brave. Okay, this is a brand new thing. March of the Brave is a brand new faction that contains 72 pop. Previously, all of my pop were in just 2, and as you can see, they were extremely happy with me. So, apparently a brand new faction has been created with all of this. And this is a very militarist faction. So they want unrestricted warfare. Conquering alien planets or making other empires our subjects will please them. I currently have 2 vassals, man. They just happened before the transition here. Border expansion, local rivalry, traditional supremacy, adopting any traditions, emphasizing supremacy. Okay, let's take a look at traditions real quick. I have not started with supremacy. Okay, what else do we have? Neighborhood rivalries, positioning ourselves as the rival of at least 2 neighboring empires would please them. Stand alone. Joining a federation will displease them. I actually created a federation. Wow, affects faction happiness minus 25%. That alone is going to be hard to overcome. Imperial hegemony, installing ourselves as the overlord of one or more foreign powers will please these guys. So at the very least, they're recognizing that. Leviathan Slayer, destroying a space-dwelling Leviathan. Okay, so at the very least, I could flip my policy to allow for unrestricted warfare. So I'll do that. I mean, we've changed entirely, so it's already set. We allow for unrestricted wars. Failing to will displease. Okay, so they don't care about whether we permit it or not. Or whether we permit it, they just don't want us to not permit it. So, what could I do to make these guys happy? Wow. Honestly, the only thing I could do is leave the Federation that I started. I could kill a Leviathan, that probably gives like 5%. Wow, so these guys are just plain pissed. And they make up the vast majority of my population. My civilization is going to go in the tank. Nice knowing you. Hey, looky there. Event, faction founded. March of the Brave. So is that the end of our... Nope. It still signals. Maybe there's something more? And so we have another notification. I've let about 20 or 30 years now pass since we adopted the supremacy tradition, about 30 or 40 since we actually made the genetic switch to whatever species of human this is. More human than human, I guess. It looks like human is our founder species. That's nice. Yeah. So, we have a new event, the Wailing World. And still they come. Another update from Ulysses Prime, where we found those abandoned buildings. The number of colonists continues to increase, and now we're finding irregularities under the records. Family groups that shouldn't exist, birth dates that make no sense. There must be secret migration from a lost colony, or else some peculiar sabotage by the colonists. Destroy those buildings. We should have done it much sooner. Or peculiar, but we can always use more citizens. Monitor and continue. We'll see what comes of it. New events in Eliscopus. Further unlikely news, where the population had been mysteriously increasing, population numbers are now what we'd expect, but there has been some sort of information sabotage, or what our administrators aren't really sure. None of the individuals on the planet exists in our records. Every original colonist is missing. It's as if they've all been replaced by complete strangers. As against that, they all swear they're loyal citizens of the United Nations of Earth. They're all productive and apparently sane. In all communications, they deny all knowledge of any confusion and insist that there must be a mistake on our end. They seem perfectly chimmy to me. They've been unchanged by this event. They're not my founding population. Oh, I wanted to see that too. How did this faction take my adopting traditional supremacy? There you go. Oh, check that out. Affects faction happiness by 2%. Yeah. Although they're much happier now. 47% happiness. That's huge. I wonder what changed for them. Border expansion, of course. Because I just put down a new settlement. But it says constructing a frontier outpost. I haven't constructed one of those for a while. I did declare somebody a rival. And then thus I do have a neighborhood rivalry, so that's another couple percent there. We are currently rivaling 2, I believe, nations. Maybe 3. Okay, so just being a little more minorly aggressive has risen us up by 15% total. Hey, there you go. Yeah, border expansion, local rivalry. Yeah. It's rough working with those guys. So, with this colony, what do? Abandon the colony immediately before this spreads any further? Or let's send a team there to investigate so they can bring back whatever's going on. I like that idea. Investigate the whatever happened to the population.
Updated.
All right, something in our situation log. Investigate whatever happened. I need a scientist that has skills 2 or higher. So, let's find a scientist. This is Alessandro Riso. Looks slightly different than the last time we worked with him.
Technology
In the meantime,
discovered.
I'm gonna go ahead and pester my neighbor. Ooh. We just finished off the infinite loop. And there's nothing particularly exciting in here. Alright, we have more going on in our new colony. Our team reports that the population of the planet are healthy, normal, and apparently bewildered by all the fuss. There are some peculiarities, though: an unusual number of multiple births, a planet-wide idiosyncrasy where no one has any regard for punctuality, and fluctuations in local solar radiation that are characteristic of pre-supernova stars. They also observe a number of luminosity events on the surface where light somehow appears to be accumulated and released by prismatic functions of the atmosphere. This is valuable and peculiar data, but it could be coincidental. If anything has happened to the colonists, it remains a mystery. What will be was, and that gets entropic recursion at 10%, as well as 626 physics, or, well, the same thing, colonists. Colonists are odd. Of course, what will be was. Aha! That is what I was waiting for. Omega theory. So there is a little bit more to this chain than just gaining traits. Apparently, there's something about planets involved, and in order to do so, to allow for the final connection between our world and the worm in waiting, we need to complete this guy, Omega theory, which unlocks a building, Omega alignment. Omega alignment, it costs 3 maintenance, produces 10 physics. It's a building. So it takes 30,000 in order to, for me at least with this size empire, to study. So that'll be a little while. I'm gonna get that moving. I'll see if I don't have a scientist that matches, and we'll see you in about 60 months. We're looking at 8 months to go. Just 8 months. If my Federation can stay out of war for that long, that is. They've been pestering me with war requests. It's crazy. That's what you get when you get involved with hegemonic imperialists, apparently. So, we've got the Omega alignment. When the temporal paradox becomes tangled, a kind of consciousness arises with its own needs, its own desires. This is what has occurred with the consciousness that some call the worm in waiting. If we can align ourselves with that consciousness, we might just achieve a kind of immortality. The Omega alignment. No new research of interest. So, let's head into Sol. Take a look at this beautiful solar system. Whoa. We've got Saturn and Titan over here. We got Mars over there, Mercury, Jupiter with Europa. We got Ceres out here in the outskirts, Vesta. There, we've got Earth and, of course, Luna. So, all of this is about to take a drastic change. I'm gonna look at my monies and I'm gonna say, we can do without that one. So we're gonna replace this building with, what are we gonna replace it with? Loop Institute? No, although that's a wonderful building that we did earn in this playthrough. That one's pretty cool with the 5% happiness. Ministry of Benevolence with a whole bunch of unity coming along with it. Again, great for unrest in particular, and could help us recover from this shift in social capacity, social, civics, I believe we would call that one, wouldn't we? No, traits, the traits, where we become so much more militarist. But in particular, we are going with Omega Alignment. Produces a whole bunch of physics, and apparently does something funky. So, we're gonna drop that and wait for it to construct in 115 days. That was us. We have the Omega Alignment, which is, holy cow, in the end, producing 20 physics off of one. Wow, that's huge. What is it doing? We've got intelligent, we've got an observatory, prismatic lenses, whatever that is. I'm assisting research. Happiness adds a little bit, dark matter adds a little bit, and the governor adds a little bit. Wow, that's a huge buff. Beyond that, we have an event, which is the end in the beginning. Okay. Here we go then. There is a consciousness outside time and beneath space. It is a labyrinthine tangle of desire and desperation. Our remote ancestors knew it as the loop, the worm in waiting. We've met it out there, where the void is tormented by gravity. It seems to have taken a personal interest in us. There are mathematical proofs that it loves us, but love to the worm is not like love to anything that subsists in ordinary space. With all we have learned, we think that we might be able to use the Omega Alignment to open an access route, an entry point, for the worm to manifest in our home system. The worm is fond of beginnings, and this is ours. What consequences would that have? We have yet to find anyone who's prepared to commit to an answer. Immortality, perhaps, or apocalypse. But we certainly learn a great deal. Would certainly learn a great deal. So, we have two options. Perhaps the worm loves us. Perhaps we could love the worm. This will cause ending the worm in waiting signals event chain. Begins the worm in waiting signals event chain. And issues a special project to generate the entry point. Or, this is not a safe experiment, but we could learn so much. Same result. Either one continues the process. I like this. Perhaps the worm loves us, and perhaps we could love the worm. Log updated. The worm in waiting signs. Generate the entry point available. It only takes 1 month. That's 600 physics. The theory suggests that the temporal anomalies we have encountered are the cause of the thing that we call the loop, or the worm. It's an entangled knot of paradoxes that has become conscious, a nexus of awareness and desire outside time. Its cause, or its result, it's hard to say with something like this, but it is attracted to endings and beginnings. We can use the Omega Alignment to bring it through to our home system. If we do, something will certainly happen. This is many things, but especially, it is science. That is a horrible, horrible line. Research, 1 month. Our special project is complete. Event, the Heart of the Sun. The project is complete. The accelerators are online. The power network of a dozen cities is diverted to wake the pseudo-singularity at the heart of the alignment. Space shudders like wind-racked cloth. Soul, for a heart-stopping moment, dims and then brightens. A shadow coils in its heart. The worm is here. It unfolds like origami. Wow, look at that picture. Across the system, sensors shut down in abject disbelief as the incomprehensible data of its arrival steals through them. On the home world, our subjects scream and cower as they feel its attention turned upon them and upon us. It presents a wordless question, or rather, we have become aware that this question was always what it was asking us every time we encountered it. Yes, whatever it requires, we consent. Or no, we have brought it here to learn, and if need be, defeat it. Okay, and we have no idea what either is going to do, but this seems like a pretty definitive decision here. The idea of to learn and if need be defeat it would imply that we're going to be attacked and attack, and that would thus it would stop this chain right here. Or yes, whatever it requires, we consent. That's the funner one. So whatever it requires, we consent. Ding. The future. The worm loves us. It will always loves us, and thus it always has. It winds around the hot heart of our home star. It winds around everything, every infinitesimal loop of genetic information. It provokes a shuddering series of cataclysms in the planetary crust of our home. But when our star grows cold, the cataclysm will warm us. We understand so much more. We will always be what we were going to be, wound tight in the love of the worm. What was shall be, and what shall be was. Ends. The worm in waiting signals event chain. And thus, we are left with Venus, Mercury, Mars, etc., etc. It looks like we've gained 3 habitable planets in our main solar system here. Looking at Earth, Earth is now a tomb world. So, nothing beyond, yeah, Earth is now a tomb world. Nothing beyond that has changed. Apparently, humans, this particular type of human, is really the only one that is truly capable of surviving on this tomb world. The key rim that you see there are a indigenous race that I have enlightened, and they had this tomb world preference already. So that was a unique thing already to begin with. But Venus now is also a tomb world. Mercury now is also a tomb world. Mars is also a tomb world. And so this leads me to think that, yeah, that now all of my human population has a tomb world preference. Wow. That said, their tomb world preference, which gives 80% habitability to tomb worlds, still leaves every other world type at 60%. That's actually kind of astonishing. That's not bad at all to have 60% with everything. I have already colonized the majority of what's available for me to colonize. I hadn't taken this 10-tile planet. That was on purpose. But yeah, that's actually kind of cool. Tomb worlds being 80% and everything else being 60 means that although there's no awesome planet, because how many tomb worlds do you really come across? It also means there's no bad planet either. Of course, as late as this quest chain happens, you're not going to do it immediately, I don't think. You can see how much of the world is already colonized, and that doesn't really matter then. I mean, we're into the 2300s. Wow, okay. So, there you go. Soul is no longer soul. Soul is a black hole. And Venus has become a tomb world. A decent tomb world. 20 tiles. Mars, 13-tile tomb world. Yay. But it's a terraforming candidate. Could we actually terraform? We actually could. Interesting. Alright. Well, there you go. That's the end result of it all. My thought is no harm in going through it. The entire process here, no harm in going through it. The only real harm would come in dealing with the fact that if you're a pacifist and became militarist, that would be a difficult blow. On the other side, if you are militarist and become pacifist, that would be a difficult blow. It would be hard to handle as a society. Because of that, stuff like when you look at these buildings, where was it? The Loop Institute, Governing Ethics Attraction plus 5%. Or there was another one in here, Ministry of Benevolence, Governing Ethics Attraction plus 10%. So you see a couple of those in there. Alien migration, that's not going to help. I thought there was another one that we had that we could have put on here. But there are a couple of buildings that can make up for that, the governing ethics attraction. But there's also a couple of policies. So the policy Information Quarantine, this edict puts strict checks on the flow of information, better preserving local cultural identities. Costs 1 influence each month to maintain governing ethics attraction plus 25%. So that's a good edict to put into place. Even beyond that, we have under harmony, you can put unrest in there. So if you're in harmony at all, go for the greater good, and that will reduce the total amount of unrest. And perhaps it's the Paradise Dome. I have not opened the Paradise Dome in this game, but I believe that might also have ethics attraction. But putting those things in place and tending to your faction will minimize the impact, I believe. And at the same time, you gain, at the very least, you gain the intellect trait. So if you're willing to put up with that, then you're good to go. If you finish the entire chain, you'll also encounter this and experience this end result, which, although it can be frustrating, at the very least, it's 60% for everything else. So that shouldn't actually cause a great deal of harm in the end. So do it. It will be fun. And if you're willing to take a little bit of a risk with the possibility of colonization and happiness in the Tomb World side of things, then finish the entire thing. That would be a much easier thing to do. However, if, for instance, like myself, you have uplifted several other species, because with these other species here, the Chim, these guys are left completely unchanged and still have their savanna preference. So if you have 2 or 3 species in your empire, then absolutely, without a doubt, finish it off, do it all. So there you go. There is your run through of the Worm in Waiting quest chain. Worm in Waiting, Horizon Signals. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I wish you the best of luck as you explore and dominate the world, or universe, I should say, of Stellaris.